2020 is pretty much over, which is just absolutely insane to me, but that means it's time to talk about my top 10 favorite TV shows of 2020. I usually don't do this list, but I watched so much TV this year, and I'm sure many of you guys did as well, so we're gonna have fun talking about our favorite TV shows from 2020, and from my knowledge, most of these, or all of them, should have debuted this year. So guys, make sure to comment down below and let me know your favorite shows that you watch. What was your favorite season of television this year? Which one blew you away the most? Where I'm gonna have fun talking about this. But of course, also guys, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button so we can keep talking movies every single day, or even TV or games, because that's just some of my favorite things to talk about all the time. So without further ado, let's get started. Down at my number 10 is going to be Defending Jacob, the brand new Apple TV series, which I adored. In fact, this is the show that has really played around in my mind for quite a while, and the biggest reason is because of the performances. This is easily Chris Evans and Michelle Dockery, some of their best performances they've ever given. You know, Chris Evans is Captain America, and well, in this, no. He's a very serious father, and one that really is just trying to give the best for his kid, who, in fact, is very much tinkering the line of, did he kill this kid or did he not? Defending Jacob keeps you on edge the entire time as you're trying to figure out and piece the puzzle together yourself, and it's a show that if you have a significant other or you have a really close friend that you love watching TV with, this is a great show to watch, because you will be sitting there through the 8 episodes just completely unwinded, but also having theories after each and every episode and discussions. That's something that me and my girlfriend did. When we binged watched this show, we were sitting there like, oh my god, on the edge of our seat, and at the same time having great discussions after each and every episode. And I love the way that it brought up such a great discussion. In fact, my sister just watched this show for the first time, and we're having great discussions about it now. Defending Jacob is a hard show to talk about without spoilers, but it's bleak, it's dark, but it's absolutely a must watch. Coming down to my number 9, and I'm sure many of you guys will be surprised by this one because I actually gave it a very high score, but that is The Boys Season 2. I loved this season. But for some reason, the more and more that I think about the season, the more and more that I come to the realization that I actually loved Season 1 a little bit more, especially after rewatching Season 1 pretty recently. Season 2 is great, and I think for me, my favorite thing is how they pushed Butcher into the main spotlight. He is truly the main character of this whole entire season, and same as Homelander. You know, the parallels between them are very unique, and I love what the creator was able to bring about in those, and I think it sets up a lot of interesting and particular elements for the future of this franchise. But there were certain characters in here that I wish they would have done a little bit more with. The main character from the first season, Huey. I liked his arc, but again, it starts a little bit too slow. And some of the other characters are kind of the same way. Starlight does get a push. I loved her in here. I think the rest of the group actually gets a push. But when it comes to the other soups, everything with the Deep kind of just didn't really feel like it really built up to anything. So hopefully Season 3 does kind of show where that was going. But overall, The Boys Season 2, I mean, it's a blast, it's bloody great, and it still has some great action set pieces. And Stormfront and Homelander, oh my god, that's like some of the most messed up things I've ever watched in 2020. Coming down to my number 8 is going to be Lovecraft Country. This is a show that absolutely blew me away, and I think a lot of that comes from the 2 performances, Smollett and Jonathan Majors, and truly what they give. And that doesn't just go to them. Everyone in this show is amazing. Like, I was pretty much blown away with the way that they wrote and directed this show. But one of the things that really stuck out to me is how each and every episode was unpredictable. Each and every episode started out in a manner that really kept me on edge, but also every episode is a different horror theme and a different kind of version of it. We got body horror, we have a slasher horror, we have psychological horror, we have straight up horror, we have disgusting horror, and classic horror all in there. And the whole way that they tied the through line throughout all the episodes was perfect. And it's a show that I cannot stop thinking about. It's one that I want to really recommend to every single person because I just love how they were able to bring this show to life. Because in a sense, this is an anthology show that every single episode is different, but at the same time it's not, because it's telling a story. At the end of the show, I sat there clamoring, I need another season with these characters. I really do hope HBO decides to give us one, because I think the way that they ended the show was satisfying, but enough to intrigue me to bring me back because of where it ended. And I'm like, I want to see more, especially since it just seems like it was just opening up the world of Lovecraft Country. Coming down to my number 7 is probably the biggest surprise for me on this list, and that is Dave Season 1. I've never been the biggest fan of Lil Dicky's music. I think he's funny, I think he's cool, but it's never been my style. Dave is where this guy strikes. Holy crap, one of the funniest shows, one of the funniest first seasons of a television show I've ever watched. This show, I mean, again, it's hard to not, this is why TV is really hard to talk about without spoilers, because there are multiple episodes in here where I just want to talk about them. Especially whether it's episode 3 in the last 2 episodes. I nearly like choked on the food that I was eating, nearly died of laughter. There were multiple scenes that I kept rewatching and like kept rewinding and fast forwarding through because I wanted to get back to those scenes. Dave is just insane, and it's not just hilarious, it also like has a really great storyline, and his one character in there, Gator, has one episode specific to him, and this is actually his real like close friend in real life playing this character, and I love how Little Dicky was able to intersect something very important about his life inside this show, and it kind of made for a very different dynamic than I expected. Coming down to my number 6 is going to be The Haunting of Bly Manor, which I adored. I actually think this is better than Haunting of Hill House. I understand it is not as scary as Hill House whatsoever, but Bly Manor is definitely more of a love story than a horror story. And I love that because that's what Flanagan taught me in this. It taught me to look at every horror film so differently now, because a lot of them are actually love stories, and they all start from something that was from a love story. And Bly Manor touches into that in such a touching way. The characters are amazing, the performances are great, and the last episode alone, I truly mean this, the last episode alone is one of my favorite pieces of horror in quite a while, especially the last shot. The last shot not just gave me goosebumps, it was eerie, but I loved it. It was so touching and beautiful, and God, I'm gonna start crying again. I love Bly Manor so much. Coming down to my number 5 is going to be Better Call Saul Season 5. Holy crap. So I actually put this one off for quite a bit. I was really late into the season, especially during the quarantine, but one of the days I said, hey, I'm gonna catch back up on the show, and holy crap this is great. I mean, if you guys are not on the Better Call Saul train yet, I don't know what you're doing, especially if you love Breaking Bad, because it starts out the same way that Breaking Bad did. Starts pretty slow, but each season builds and builds and builds and builds and gets better and better and better, and Better Call Saul 5, it's the best season yet. From performancing, yes, everyone's great, but the thing that I absolutely love is how one little throwaway line in Breaking Bad is pretty much the main storyline for Better Call Saul. I don't want to get into spoilers or specifics, but look it up. If you're a fan of Better Call Saul, it'll really make you think even more. That's what's absolutely really exciting for what this final season of Better Call Saul could truly bring us, especially with the way that this season ended. It was intense, it was enthralling, I loved every single thing about it, and all the characters are finally really coming together and intersecting, and it's getting so intense. Coming down on my number 4 is Umbrella Academy Season 2. I loved this. The first season blew me away with how amazing it was, and Season 2 absolutely did the same exact thing for me. In fact, this is a show that I keep thinking about Season 2. I keep thinking about certain moments. I keep thinking about what they did with these characters and the time period they took them to. I love how and I really mean this, each and every character got something special to do, especially Diego, who I felt like was very much sidelined in the first season. And I loved him. I loved the new companion in here. And I love the direction, the writing, and all the little elements that kind of came together that sprinkled throughout that made the show not just heavily entertaining, heavily action-packed, but heavily funny. And that's what makes this show so great, are the characters. The characters are the most important part about Umbrella Academy, and Season 2 definitely showed that in strides. Coming down to my number 3 is Clone Wars Season 7. Now, let me preface this. If it wasn't for the rest of the season, because I think the first 8 episodes are good. Like, I think they're really good. Like, the Bad Batch stuff is great. It's really entertaining. I love the animation. And the Ahsoka stuff was okay. Like, it was okay. It kind of got us into the flair. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed seeing this character back, but I definitely think it could have been fulfilled with a different act. The final 4 episodes are some of the best Star Wars has ever done. And I mean, that's just an agreement, I think, with everyone who's ever loved Star Wars. And if you have never watched Clone Wars, and you love Star Wars, you should watch Clone Wars. I know there are a lot of throwaway episodes, but overall Clone Wars is one of the most satisfying experiences that you could absolutely have, and the final 4 episodes truly felt like a movie. I was blown away, and the testament to this is I showed my girlfriend these episodes, and it made her want to go back and rewatch Clone Wars and actually watch it for herself, because she was blown away too. It is so entertaining. It was so emotionally satisfying. It was so heartbreaking. It was so beautiful. It was so touching. The final 4 episodes truly made this whole entire season go from like a B- to an A for me, and that's why it is my number 3, because I loved those last 4 episodes, and I could not talk about this favorite TV seasons without Clone Wars being that high. Again, that might be a lot of nostalgic feeling for me, but I don't care, because it's my list, and I can't wait to hear what your guys' list is. Reminds me, guys, if you guys are new here again, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button so we can keep talking movies, TV, and games all over here on a daily basis. Again, this is my personal list. If you don't agree with it, that's okay. Now, you know, for some reason you're like, where's this show? Maybe I didn't watch it. Make sure, guys, to comment down below and let me know your favorite TV shows of 2020. I can't wait to hear your guys' thoughts. Now, my number 2 is going to be Ozark Season 3. Holy crap. I love Ozark. I think Season 1 is a masterpiece. I think Season 2 is just as good, if not a little bit under Season 1. But Season 3 is some of the best TV I've ever watched. And if it wasn't for my number 1 being like super nostalgic for me and like a lot of the things in there just totally blowing me away, Ozark would have been easily my favorite season. I think still on a writing level, on a performance level, on all those manners, Season 3 of Ozark is some of the best TV I've watched in years. And I really mean that. Jason Bateman's incredible. Laura Linney's incredible. But Thomas Palfrey, who is not nominated for anything for this show, it's a damn joke because that guy should have won everything. What an all-star performance. This guy's now popping up in everything that I've seen. He was in Mank now. He looks to be in other movies coming up soon. This guy is the next big deal, and I'm not exaggerating when I say this. This guy's gonna win an Oscar in this next decade. He's that incredible in Ozark that it just blew me away. Like, I cannot just get into details of what his character's about, but oh my god, twists, the turns that happen throughout Ozark Season 3 are so intense, especially the final like 10 seconds. My jaw hit the damn floor. Show can truly be that unpredictable for me. That's when I truly fall in love with it and all of its strides. Ozark Season 3 is some of the best TV I've ever watched. This show is one of my favorite shows of all time. And the fact that we're only getting one more season breaks my heart, but I cannot wait to see where they lead us. And of course, my number 1, I mean, if you've followed my channel for a while, you know what this was going to be. If you're not, if you're new here, then maybe this is a surprise to you. It's Mandalorian Season 2, a season that I was very skeptical going into. Very nervous because of a lot of the things that we heard about. We heard about Boba Fett, Ahsoka, and many, many more, especially other than that last character, which I'm not going to get to, because if you haven't watched the Mando season, yeah, I don't want to get into it. But again, nostalgic feeling on that last episode, like, holy crap, they did it. They did it. For me, Mandalorian Season 2 was everything I wanted this season to be and more. Season 1 was a ton of fun. It was great. I had a blast with it. But overall, I wanted the story to be a little bit more connective. Season 2 went into the stride in a very different way, but it actually still connected the show while also feeling like everything was just, you know, side mission to the real mission. And I like that because they brought a lot of my favorite characters from the shows into live action. And, you know, maybe this is a little bit spoiler territory. If you haven't watched Mandalorian Season 2, be a little bit more. Again, I'm not going to get into that last episode, but everything else kind of got leaked out, so I kind of expected it to be. But Bo-Katan, Ahsoka, holy crap. I didn't expect them. Like, we heard rumors that they were going to be in here, but their debuts were so surprising to me, and I loved that all. I loved seeing one of my favorite Mandalorians come into this, Bo-Katan, and Katie Sackhoff playing her, and then also seeing Ahsoka come into live action was also amazing too, and that episode was incredible. It's still my favorite episode of the entire season. It's a freaking samurai, pretty much. It's a samurai episode. Like, if that's how the Ahsoka show is going to be, that show's gonna slap. I think truly my favorite thing about this whole entire show was the depth that they actually gave to certain characters. Mayfield, especially from Season 1, but definitely the Mandalorian. You truly understand that he is the heart and soul of the show, not Grogu, Baby Yoda's real name, but it's not Baby Yoda. It's not him. He's the heart of the show. He's adorable and cute, but it's Pedro Pascal's the Mandalorian. He's incredible in this. He is absolutely the embodiment of everything that you would truly want the show to be, and I loved this show from top to bottom because of Din. And I think those final moments with Pedro Pascal in this episode, in particular this season, is some of the most touching stuff that we've ever gotten in Star Wars. And actually, for a while I was thinking, you know, Din is not one of my favorite characters in Star Wars yet because there's not a lot of depth to him. after this season, there's an argument to be made that he is top 10 best Star Wars characters ever. And a lot of that comes down to Pedro's performance. I cannot wait to see what they do with season 3. Yes, I'm very sad that we are not getting it till 2022, but at least we are having the Book of Boba Fett to bring us and hold us off next December, which I'm really excited for that, because Fennec and Boba Fett were also big standouts of this entire season. I love this show. I love watching a bunch of TV in 2020, and I'm sure we're going to be watching quite a few more in 2021 if that quarantine is actually going to happen. We will see, guys. Thank you guys again so much for clicking on this. You guys are seriously all the best. Make sure to head on over to Sandwich Run Films on how to see films early. And of course, it's a big day to you and a big day to my Patreon supporters, because without you, I wouldn't be able to do this. Hope you guys had a Merry Christmas. Thank you so much again for watching this, and make sure to look out for a lot more top 10 lists coming up in the next coming days. I have top 10 underrated movies from 2020. I have my favorite top 10 movies from 2020. I'm going to be ranking every film I saw in 2020, which is like over 155 films, and so much more, guys. Thank you guys again, and of course, until next time, stay classy.